So, the book I decided to read, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and Other Clinical Tales, written by Oliver Sacks, is a book originally made into four parts, but when talked about, it's usually reduced to only three. So, these three parts are losses, excesses, and qualities found in people with previously diagnosed intellectual disabilities. So each part of the book has its own main idea that is shown through multiple short case studies, actually tested by Oliver Sacks himself over his many years of working with these patients. Big idea in the first part, losses, as I previously said, was to show just how much people can lose and how much harder they have to fight to get back to where normal people are in society today. So one study he mentions, chapter 5, which I think best fit this, would be titled Hands. So Hands is a case study following one girl previously diagnosed with cerebral palsy. She goes by the name Madeline J. So Madeline could not identify any objects placed in her hands, losing all use of her hands because she couldn't feel anything. So as Sacks met her and started to look and observed more into her actions, he decided to try to help her get that feeling in her hands that she has never experienced before. So for a few weeks, he would place food directly out of her reach before feeding it to her, seeing if she would get it one day. So as ethical concerns may arise from this, there wasn't any undue stress because he really did feed her after. It's not like he starved her or anything, so it fit all the ethical guidelines in the situation. But one day, with a childlike urge, as he mentioned in the book, she grabbed her food after many years of never using her hands. So when there was thought to be no hope in this situation, with deep observations by Sacks, he was able to help her and get that feeling that she really earned for. So whereas a normal person would have just grabbed their food by instinct without even thinking about it, she had to work so much harder to do this task some would mark as simple. One limitation in this case study, as there is with all case studies, is that it can't be replicated because it was a long journey of just her. But it did give a lot of rich data he could be using for further investigations in situations just like this. The second big idea is for the category of excesses. So excesses are actually often very overlooked in psychological studies, as Sacks talks about. Mostly studies focus on losses. So this excess category is to show just how important excesses are and how they impact people's life just as much as losses do. So one study of excess talked about in this book is chapter 11, Cupid's Disease. This is a study of an 80-year-old woman whose name is Natasha Kay, and after her 80th birthday, she noticed her mood went up a lot. Her attitude became very positive. She was laughing all the time. She kind of found everything funny, and she was really happy. Although this does seem like a good thing, a lot of her friends became concerned because of her age, so she decided to go see Sacks, the doctor. So Sacks determines it's neurosyphilis affecting her, and that was what the problem was. So this was later observed in another patient whose imagination seemed to disappear when under the treatment required for him because of whatever condition he had. So these studies done by Sacks demonstrates to the greater population that excesses can impact one's life just as much as losses do. Although both of these examples were kind of a positive because he gained an imagination and she became happy, it still impacts them quite a deal in their life at their ages. And one strength found in these studies is that although it is a case study, which isn't usually generalized to a whole population, because it was demonstrated in two different ones and they both connected, showing the same message, that it is a little more generalizable, but not completely, which would be a weakness. The last big idea in this writing, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and Other Clinical Tales, would be demonstrating the qualities found in people with previously diagnosed intellectual disabilities. So an example of this would be on chapter 28, titled The Twins. So the twins were two boys that were diagnosed with autism very early in their life, and they were not able to communicate well, but they had a really strong connection with numbers and calendars, dates, things like that. So Sacks tested their ability with these numbers by giving them a random prime number. So they would take a minute and give another one back to him that was also a prime number. And this went on for a really long time, leading up to the time it's been an hour or so. They were listing 20-figure prime numbers, which people found this talent to be extraordinary. So relating back to the big idea, Sacks was able to use this case of the twins and their crazy abilities with numbers to prove to people just how amazing these qualities can be in people with diagnosed intellectual disabilities. So this shows that the twins were able to develop such a strong quality with numbers and how they were able to connect to it that many people can't on a normal basis. And I think that was really important to share in his writing. I think knowing these big ideas of losses, excesses, and qualities found in people with intellectual disabilities can really help someone in society understand where they are coming from and help them get a better understanding on how to react to certain situations around certain people. So knowing more about a person can really help you understand what they need or how they should be treated, in which showing you how to act. This, in turn, really makes you a better person in society, as said by Sachs. As Sachs shows these different people with different aspects in their life and mind being affected by whatever was given to them, it gives us a deeper look into who these people are and how they don't just fit the stereotype society kind of places on them. It shows their bright minds and optimistic attitude and how little help from Sachs went a really long way. So this book removes a lot of the negative connotations wrongly given to the intellectual disabilities and creates a bigger outlook on life that I think is really important for everyone to understand and be able to connect with. One quote I found really cool by Sachs was, "So now there are two rays, on and off Haldol. There's the sober citizen, the calm deliberator from Monday to Friday, and there's the witty Tiki Ray, inspired at weekends." So I found this quote really cool because it shows how a lot of the patients who previously met with Sachs were able to kind of balance out their life and make it as positive as possible, because it's showing he gets to be inspired and just accepting what he has on the weekends, but when he needs it, he can be a little more calm. So the last quote I decided to share is, "These transports do not detract in the least from their psychological or spiritual significance." So after reading this book, I realized this really summarizes what Sachs is all about. He's really about helping these people out and not looking at their disability when you look at them, but actually looking at who they truly are. And I feel like reading from an author's point of view like this is really cool because it helps you keep an open mind to these people and really helps you understand who they are, where they're coming from, and it makes the book a more positive feeling for you. And I think it's really important that people in society read this book also to be able to understand other people.